Hello and welcome to Walpole United WFC.
Obviously, it's a nice game to be in, and especially as a United fan, I think it's a very special game to play, and we're all very excited.
I mean, I think it's one that obviously it's a derby, isn't it? So it's always blue against red, but I'm just excited for it. I just want to go now.
It's magnificent! Manchester United's first ever goal against Manchester City.
We need to bring that energy, drive our players towards finding a way to beat Manchester City, who will be a very difficult opponent, even though they're going through where they're at a minute. But we have to find a way, and our fans are absolutely the energy in which we breathe in our lungs every time we step on the field.
What a perfect strike!
If that video doesn't get you hyped, then you are not a Man United fan. Hello and welcome to Walpole United with me, John Foster, MUFC. Connor, man in the middle there. We'll just move you to one side for a second, but there you are. And thank you for that amazing video. I know you didn't do it especially for us, you did it just to hype up Derby Day, but brilliant video, thank you. Connor, just bring you in first. Obviously, you obviously woke up this morning, wanted to make that video. You're hyped for the Derby, as is everybody else. How you feeling, mate?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I wanted to put the video together, because it's like all day, like especially this afternoon, it's like I'm not going to be able to sleep tomorrow. Like I've got this, I think it was Vix I was saying to earlier, like I've got the same nerves for any derby game that I've ever been to at the men's as I do tomorrow. Nerves and excitement just for it. So yeah, just can't wait for tomorrow. This show's going to go, hopefully calm my nerves down a little bit.
I don't know. I think my nerves are just constantly up and down. I know Karen's in the comments and she's been saying that she's nervous. I'm a bit more excited than nervous. I'm not too nervous just yet. I think I'll be nervous in the stadium when we kick off and City might start getting a bit of the ball. I think I'll be a bit more nervous then. But at the moment, I just can't wait. And literally since Monday, Tuesday this week, I just can't wait to get back to the stadium. Andy, how you doing, mate? You okay?
Brilliant, mate. As I say, just going to echo what you were saying about Connor's video. I mean, as you say, if that's not hyped you, I don't know what is. And yeah, no, I don't know about nervous. I think I'll be incapable of rational thought when that first whistle goes. To be honest, I'll just be in the zone, ready to go. And to be honest, fair play, because I mean, aren't you guys going to be meeting in about an hour? Knowing you with trips to us.
I've got a night shift to do. I come in at 6 o'clock and then I've got to go to sleep somehow.
Oh, no way. Well, you got Benny on the show as well. He's got a night shift, so he's got to come home and have a couple of hours sleep in the morning and then meet us for breakfast. It's going to be a long one. But
it's dedication,
It's dedication, but what gets us through that is looking forward to the game, isn't it?
Oh,
so if it was anything else, you'd be like, oh, I don't want to get up. Trust me, we want to get up. We don't want to get to bed. That's
I went to Birmingham last week, remember? That deserves a medal as well if anyone's went around there. So, yeah.
What do you think of all the Birmingham banter? Let me move on to Stuart. Stuart won't give any Birmingham banter. Anyway, Stuart.
Yeah, I am. Thank you very much. yeah, buzzing for tomorrow. Really, I love Derby days. I absolutely love them. They just, do you know what? They epitomise everything that is about football. You know, the first couple of minutes, get a good solid tackling on your opposition, and then just take the game to them. I'm just hoping tomorrow that there's no nerves, that they play our game. We don't play City's game. We just play our game. We forget about everything. We forget about the fans. We forget about the lot. And we just go on there and we play our natural game. And I think if we play our natural game, my limited knowledge of women's football tells me we should beat them if we play our natural game. If we start trying too hard and we start trying to, I don't know, play their game, we'll probably come unstuck. So I'm just hoping. But buzzing, I've got my Chelsea mate with me tomorrow, Kev. So last time he was at LSV, he was happy. I would imagine there'll be quite a few of the opposition fans in the stadium as well. We're unfortunately stuck in the south stand, so I'll wave to you lot. So just pass me one. And yeah, but I'm really, really looking forward to it. Really excited. Yeah, I almost had my lad coming with me. Almost. I was just about to buy his ticket, and he said, "Oh, Dad, I forgot I'm playing." How can you forget you're playing? Come on, son. So we're not quite there yet, but we're getting there.
It's great to see you coming back, and obviously your mate who's never been to women's football as well. He's coming back, and he doesn't even support either club, so it shows that you know, something is going right somewhere. Vicky, first time on the Friday Night Fan Forum. Thank you for coming on. How are you doing? You okay?
Yeah, very nervous for tomorrow, but the one good thing I'm holding on to is I'm out tomorrow night. So if we win, I can celebrate. If we lose, I can just have a few extra gins.
I think that'll be us at the pub next door at 3:30 tomorrow. We're going to have a drink no matter what happens. But yeah, you're right. And people have been mentioning nerves. If the players do get nervous, Vix, do you think the fans have kind of added to that nerves by constantly hyping it up? And not just this game, but just any game in general, because we do kind of put a lot of pressure on our own players, don't we? But that's Man United, isn't it?
Yeah, you need to deal with the nerves, don't you? If you play for Man United, you need to be able to be up for it, don't you? You know, it's like when you watch that video Connor's done, you know, you're looking at like Scotty and he's like up for it. And I'm expecting Tooney be in about them and, you know, kicking and all sorts of stuff. But, you know, they should really look forward to this game as the biggest one, because it's the pride on the line, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Emma, welcome back to the show. I know you've had a busy week on and off All for United this week. Just what are your thoughts going into this game now?
I think we should do it. I think it's about limiting their chances. As I've seen going to games to see City, obviously the last couple of weeks, their threats don't come as consistently as they like. So if they're limited to those shots, then obviously, hopefully those shots will be misses. So I think, like Stu was saying, play our own game and then go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we'll get into it. It's the Derby Day special. So each topic will be a little bit about Man United, Man City, the Derby, or past, present, future. So we'll get into that. As always, Skinner's been speaking before the game. Katie Zellen's been speaking on the BBC. Jackie's been speaking on the Man United app. I think what comes across to me across all three interviews is that there's a change of tactics, that part of the players are taking a bit longer to adjust to than maybe some other part of the tactics. I think long term, I think everyone's confident. Short term, I think it's being played down. I don't know if it's a confidence thing, but it's definitely being played down. Connor, I know you wanted to speak a little bit about the interview, so I'll bring you in first. Just what are your thoughts when you listen to some of these interviews?
It was interesting, wasn't it? Skinner's especially, because on one hand, he was trying to hype it up, saying we need the energy, we need this. But then on the other hand, he's like, it's like any other game. We shouldn't look at it. Almost like you just said there, playing it down. And like, so it's like he's trying to hype the fans up enough, but not get them too hyped that we're expected to go and batter City, because that's not going to happen either. So I don't know. It was Skinner's was interesting. They've all kind of, you know, Leah's was good after Birmingham as well. Leah and Hannah, who did the interview after Birmingham, was quite good. Obviously, all the players have kind of been speaking throughout the week on pretty much every social channel. They're all kind of hyped for it, but I kind of agree. I think it's good that, in some ways, it's good that Skinner is playing it down, because I think the last thing you want is for, if he's, obviously as fans, we want him to be right on the edge going, yes, it's Derby Day, we're going to go out there, we're going to do this, and absolutely smash them and do all of this. But if he's saying that to the players and really get them all, proper hyped up and start overthinking things, I think that could be our downfall, to be honest. I agree with what Stu was saying earlier. We just need to concentrate on ourselves. The players, although it is a derby, as fans, we need to go in there thinking it's a derby and really, get the place rocking. But the players need to almost get that out of their minds and go, right, just focus on the game, because otherwise that will be our downfall. So I just thought it was interesting. I said it was almost like contradicting himself. And I don't really know what everyone else thinks on particularly Skinner's interview, because I got a little bit confused, because I said on one hand he's really hyping it up as a derby game, and on the other hand he's really trying to play it down. So it was just interesting. It's kind of the first, obviously it's his first derby, but obviously we had the Chelsea game and he didn't really do it for that. He was all about, building it up. So whether he's learned from that and trying to just calm the place down a little bit, I don't know. So just interested to see what everyone else is going to say on it.
Yeah, Vic, let's bring you in first on this one, because I know that we've sent a couple of private messages about this. I think it's a good point, isn't it? It is trying to find a balance. Go on, you speak first.
It's sort of like ties in with my topic on his mentality with it, because I don't think he's ever played a derby game as a coach when he was at Birmingham or Pride. So he's sort of like coming into it, after Chelsea, it's like, oh, we've got a 2 to 3 year plan and we're going to implement our style. And it's like he's sort of looking at it as we're going to play our style, but if we fall short, we know how short we are. And it's like he sort of doesn't quite understand what it's going to be like tomorrow. And, fans don't care about your style of play in the derby. You don't care how the goal goes in or anything like that. You just want to win. So
that's the worst thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I'm not quite sure whether he gets that. And like you say, Connor, in his interview, he's saying, on one hand, we're doing this, but there was a lot of buts. And you sort of like think, well, yeah, is he trying to play it down because he's new in the job? But then on the other hand, he's playing against a manager who's on his knees, and you can really take City down and put yourself in a good position for Champions League if you get 3 points.
Yeah. Do you think he's talking to the fans when he's doing these interviews, or do you think he's talking to the media? Do you think he's talking to the board? Because sometimes, we think he's talking to the fans, Vix, but maybe he's trying to, I don't know, maybe not talking to the fans on this one, because you are right. You don't go saying to the Man United fans, you never downplay a derby. And I don't think he's downplaying it. I just think he's trying to maybe cover his back a little bit, thinking, okay, well, if we do lose, it's not the end of the world. But you just don't say that to United fans, do you?
No, like you say, I think he might be talking to the board a little bit. He might be sort of trying to emphasise that he's not got what he needs because he didn't get any of his own signings. But like you say, Connor, he is confusing to listen to. You have to listen to it a few times and go, right, saying this, but he's also saying that. You have to make notes.
Yeah, you do. And he speaks so much, he does, and it's good. I'd rather have a manager speak and speak as opposed to just give one-liners. And I know all the journalists that we spoke to has said in the past, trying to get a quote out of some managers is so hard, whereas with Skinner, you're literally typing away for ages. You really are. There's one on here, Andy. This is, we're hearing that the third stand's going to be open. I think I've only seen the third stand open once in my time there. Could have been against Liverpool. I think it might have been against Liverpool when LJ scored. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this attendance levels?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be the non-men's stadium record, wouldn't it? Because obviously with the Etihad and other men's stadiums, but yeah, no, hopefully we've got a chance. I mean, I believe that if we do beat the record, we're actually going to beat the record of when we played at Kings Meadow, is what I read earlier. So there's still a common denominator there, which is like we have to say when it comes to see United. But no, I hope, hopefully with obviously the increasing migration we've got to tonight, people that originally started with the men's team, the migration of men's fans over a little bit as well. It's an international break, and hopefully, a few people might have that experience that we all had of just giving it a go once and then hopefully get a great game, and then they might up our regular attendance as well, which is still really good if you consider COVID. And we all saw Birmingham's attendance last week against us. I mean, it's not really comparable, is it?
to say our average attendance is 2,500. If they've opened up that third stadium, third stand,
yeah.
one day, let's put up the one first. You could be looking at over 4K, and that would be absolutely amazing, wouldn't it? You know, anything over 3.5, I think would be really good because that's a massive jump.
Yeah.
That Ollie City have got apparently 150 tickets, then you know we've done an amazing job there. Sorry, Andy, go on.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think to be honest, it's one of them where, you know, just linking to what we were saying earlier about Skinner's interview. I don't know. I've heard him get interviewed earlier in the week. I'm not sure if I saw the most recent one, but yeah, I think he knows it's going to be rocking tomorrow, and I think it is a fine balance between, especially with younger players, being overawed by the occasion or feeding from it. I mean, it should be electric tomorrow. You know, and it could only, you know, the only way we could have made it better is if it was under the lights, but you know, we can't have everything. And you know, and it's going to be. I think it's going to be one of those where, I think that's he probably knows that nobody really needs him to hype it. You know, and especially now, obviously, there's a lot more social media content coming out of you know, United Women and the men's account tonight. Then, you know, it's going to get everybody rocking already. So he doesn't need to hype it. To be honest, he probably knows that the story of the game's going to knock that interview out the way once we kick off.
Yeah. James, now Terrace isn't open, unfortunately. That's a bit of a sensitive subject for the United fans, but now it's still the three sides that are open. Just your thoughts on some of the things that you've heard on social media this week, then, so the interviews. I don't know if you've heard.
I think Mark was talking to the fans, actually, because I think he's just doing damage limitation of don't get on me if this happens because of this. Mm-hmm. Which is fair enough. Like we say, we do forget that he's new to his tenure, but derby's a derby. Doesn't matter if it's your first game, your last game. So it's just one of them, really. Like I say, one half of the East stands open. So I think it was the City match, John Liverpool, that it was open last time, but I might be wrong. So hopefully most of that is ours, and it's rocking.
It's going to be rocking, yeah. Stu, your first derby for the women's team. It's not. I don't think it's going to be much different. It's men's against. It doesn't matter if it's men's or women's game. If it's blue against red, then you're obviously going to be going for it, aren't you? What's exciting you the most about this game? For me, it's the fans. Actually, I can't wait to get in there and hear the war.
Yeah, I mean, look, football's football, isn't it? Gender's irrelevant, really, and the relevance really when you come to 11v11 on a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon, it's football. Just before I go on to that, I would say one thing about Skinner. I was quite worried by his interview because I didn't see. I think he got a right kick in the teeth by the Chelsea result. I think that was a real problem for him personally, because I think he probably went away for a day or two and thought, what am I going to do? I've just been smashed big time. Although most of the goals, by the way, were our own fault, and you could put that down to nerves or whatever. But I think Skinner's probably thought, and I would have been a little bit more upbeat about the club. And about, the upcoming games that we've got, and maybe spoke about the Chelsea result. I know he probably has already, but again, just reiterated what he'd learned from it. Because
when he says, I've prepped like I would against X, Y, and Z, you don't do that. You prep differently for every game, and that scared me, because I was like, if Tuna's a false nine, I'm fucking out. I'm not. But
yeah,
that's the other thing that worried me.
Yeah, he I mean, I don't know the guy well enough. I don't know what his background is. I don't know his results. But I can think, if I was a player and I was listening to an interview, most players do listen to interviews because they want to know what the manager's thinking at all times, not just what he's telling you in private, but what he's telling the public. And it's quite important, really, you absorb everything, for what he's saying to the fans and what he's saying to the players. And I guess if I was in that changing room, you want your manager to be coming out and say, look, all right, the Chelsea result was a big issue. We've identified exactly where the problems were. We worked on this, and this. And we know that when we come to Saturday lunchtime, I promise you now the players are going to come out absolutely buzzed and revving for this game. So everything that the fans are feeling, the players should be feeling. But as I said before, once you cross that white line, then you become kind of tunnel vision ready to the game. So that was my only take from Skinner's interview. And I said I don't really know him well enough to make any more of a judgment than that. In terms of excitement for the game, it's I love the derbies. I think they're absolutely brilliant. I like the banter between the fans. I like the banter between the managers, if there is any managers banter. I like player banter. I want to see my girl Thor absolutely pummel whoever plays up top. Who is it? Will it be Ellen White? Will it?
Could be.
Yeah, I'd like to see her absolutely. Yeah, Ellen White straight away. That's what I want to. I want to see Zellem get hold of the ball in the middle, start dictating play better than what she's done in the past few weeks.
That's hard.
Sorry.
What you want and what you get, two different things.
Well, look, when I watched her at Reading, I thought she was and I can only speak as I find. I thought she played a very competent game at Reading. I thought her touch was good. She did the simple stuff right at Reading, but she didn't do the simple stuff right at Chelsea. And there's a multitude of reasons for that. And by the way, she was up against an absolute, I was going to say man mountain there, so sorry, woman mountain of that Reading number 4 was absolutely massive. I've never, she was huge. And she was there as a bit of a bruiser. And I thought Zellem played her quite well. At Chelsea, it was a completely different game. You got two really experienced centre halves, knew exactly what they were doing, knew exactly where to position, bullied at the right time, played at the right time. And same in I can't remember all the Chelsea players' names, so forgive me, but I thought we were slightly dominated in the middle. But the times where Zellem's got the ball, she can be a very competent footballer. She's just got to panic. Yeah, she's just got not panic. And unfortunately, at Chelsea, we panic so much. Every time we got the ball, we're trying to move it quickly. Sometimes you just got to put your foot on the ball, have a look around you, drop it 2 yards, and calm the play. And that's what I expect us to be able to do. I expect us to be able to be speedy in the play and calm in play. And if we can get those two right, we should beat City.
Yes,
I think in that position, you'd start Haley Ladd over Zellem then.
Yeah,
that dictated that play.
I
don't quite know. John will tell you. I'm new to. This is my first season. I've been twice, so I'm not kind of familiar with those. So
I agree with Emma. I agree with Emma. To be honest, I mean, I've said before we've got a bit of an issue there because by sort of avoiding what we're going to do with Katie as a captain, we're making different sort of trade-offs which are affecting our overall options. Really, I think certainly more often than not, you'd want her on the bench rather than on the pitch, and that's not ideal for a captain.
Do you not think Skinner's, just going back to the original point about Skinner's interview, I think one of the things, and I said this at the start, I think although I was a bit confused by his interview, I think he's almost done the right thing. I think he's learned from Chelsea, because if you remember, their goal pretty much came from kick-off, straight from the off, nerves were straight in, because gave the ball away. I think they had a shot on goal and it was a corner within 15 seconds or whatever it was. And that probably should have got in, bar a good save from Earps at the time. And that's where their goal came from, playing out from the back. So I think from going back to Skinner's interview, I think he's almost trying to make sure that doesn't happen again. Make sure the players aren't so overhyped they're nervous for the game. Go out there, because the last thing we want to do is go 1 or 2 down again in the first few minutes against City, because then it's an uphill battle again. Regardless of whatever injuries they've got, they've still got a decent side out there, and you can't be doing that again against a top side. So I think going back to his interview, I think he's learned from Chelsea, and I think he's trying to hype the fans up because they're going to want the noise and everything like that. But I think he's just trying to calm the players down a little bit, because I don't know what he said. Obviously, none of us know what he said behind the scenes to the players, but whatever happened, the players clearly went out nervous against Chelsea, and I think he's just trying to avoid making those mistakes again.
He needs to be a little bit more forthright then for me. He's for me. I think he's quite softly spoken, and you can't be softly spoken. You got to be a bit more forthright. So again, if I'm a player and I'm watching this and I'm listening to him, I want to see a bit more from him. But again,
I've seen him on the touchline. He is completely different on the touchline. He's throwing his arms about this, that, and the other.
You can't see it in the south stand. We're too far away. Get the goggles out for that one.
Vix, last word on the interviews with yourself. Then, and obviously we've been discussing it. Just the importance of the derby. Would you like to see a different kind of interview then, maybe?
I'd like to say, we're up for it and, we're going to do our best. That's as simple as it. I mean, you get more from the player interviews. It's like when Jackie says, as a Man United fan, these are the games you want to play. And that's what you want to hear, don't you? You want to hear that they're up for it and they're excited. It doesn't need to be any more complicated. It doesn't need to be, we're going to play our style of play. But no buts, because you're basically making an excuse before we've even kicked a ball. Don't do that.
Andy, then your topic, how do we beat City? So I hope Skinner's listening and take it away.
So we've touched on a little bits of it. It's sort of like, I mean, keys to the, we've been catching up a bit on NFL and they call it like keys to the game, and it's true. What are the sort of keys to the game? First one is score first. I think that would be pivotal. Well, actually, that might be the second one. The first one would be don't let them score. First, because obviously, like you were saying about, the nerves, and, there's a few things that sort of reminded me of last season with Chelsea, the sort of nervy pass back to Mary, the sort of like random kicking it out kind of stuff that happened when we got a bit nervous and the missed passes. I think hopefully they're going to feed off our energy, and if they can score first, that's going to make us even louder, and that should start getting us going and building that momentum and making life difficult for the sort of, what they're down there to volunteers for City, that thin on the ground, I don't know, but no, it's going to make it harder for them. Obviously they're good on big there's a lot of big names there that are good on high pressure games, but it is rare in the women's game to have the noise that we provide. So I think that's definitely a plus point. So yeah, definitely try and score first. I think to achieve that, we have to play Alicia Russo to start. If she can play 90, great. If she can't, then you switch her. And I think it's one of them where it's going to be so frustrating if it doesn't go our way, because they're almost right for the taking at the minute. They're literally there, ready for us to replace them as the sort of third team in the league. But I think to score first, hope we switch out the mistakes, as Emma was saying. I believe don't get as nervous maybe as we were previously, and also I think, just as a side point with Skinner, I think someone needs to put his watch forward by 5 minutes, because if he wants to put Ivana on, he needs to actually get her on. So, I think maybe, do what you do when people that don't arrive on time. I think he needs to actually make sure, it sounds really stupid, that all of the subs he wants to make actually got on the pitch. But yeah, I was just we sort of half touched on it, but my question really is what do you think the keys are for us to beat City?
So let me bring Emma in first, because obviously City haven't had a great start to the season. I've been speaking to a different Emma, a Manchester City fan. We all know her on Twitter. Man City Women's Fancast, great fan, love hearing her talk, and she's been very honest in what she's been saying. I think different journalists have also kind of put Gareth Taylor under scrutiny, not just because of the injuries, but because of the way certain things went last season as well. Emma, what do you think's going on at City that we could potentially exploit? Would it be like? Sorry, you've got an answer already. Go on.
Well, everybody would assume that it's their defence, because it's a mixed match defence at the minute. But I actually think it's their midfield. I'm pretty sure, I won't put a fiver on it though, that Kira Walsh will start and probably do the full 90 minutes, and she's a very key player for them. And obviously Caroline Weir after last season. But Kira Walsh is the key for them to get forward and to not let the ball get to the defence. So if we can stop her.
So how would you stop her then? How would you stop her then? What kind of tactics or personnel would you kind of play?
Well, there's no point man marking, for the simple reason there's that many other players that can still do a job. Mm-hmm. But just keep that space in midfield tight to where she can't get any balls through. She'll get the ball regardless. It's whether she can make them passes or not. And if we control that space, then she won't be able to make those. Also, it depends how they do line up in defence. If Georgia Stanway is in defence, then Katie Zellum will probably be guaranteed a penalty. We all know why. But yeah, I just think they've not got. They have got obviously a fence going forward, but it's all going to be through that centre of midfield. That's going to be their key, and if we can get rid of that threat, then I think we're fine, because then obviously we can push it through the wings and bish bash bosh. But yeah, I think she's going to be their key player. I'm assuming she'll do 90 minutes because I think she did 60 the other week. But we'll see. If it's Laura Coombs, then we're winning. But that's another story.
Vix, just touching on Andy's question then, like how would we beat City? A few times it's come up that we need to play the wingers more, so that would be like Galton and Hansen to start the match, really spread the game out, and I think they're two of our best and most influential players, especially Hansen this season. You know, she's arguably done better than Galton, even though Galton had a great game last game. Russo looks like she's fit enough to start. Is that kind of like the attacking lineup that you would start with?
Yeah, because it was interesting for me because Hansen didn't start on Sunday, and when Sky Sports showed a graphic at half time, Russo and Lucy Stan, they were getting each other's space, and we were really narrow. So Karen Carney was saying, well, should be using the width, and when Hansen came in, we were using it better. Because the problem is, if you're relying on the width from Hannah and Honor, that's where our central defenders are getting exposed. There's nobody to drop back like Hayley Ladd, into the back three. So you need to use your width and keep them occupied. Plus, we know they've not got the regular fullbacks, so it's going to give them a lot of pain, isn't it? And Leah looks up for it, doesn't she? She looks like really, after Sunday, she looks more herself. So I would expect her to be one who'll get some good chances early on if we push forward quickly.
Do you think the best way to win this game is to actually attack them then, or kind of sit back and get them on the counter attack? Or because obviously we tried to attack Chelsea, didn't really work out, and Skinner kind of come under scrutiny for that. Is this kind of the same, like the game where we should just sit back and keep it tight so we only lose by 1 or 2 goals maximum, or go out for it because we stand a better chance of winning this game?
Need to score first, because when we score first, we're fine. But if we go behind, I think we've won once we've conceded first. And I think that was Everton game at some point. But otherwise, you just, like we went behind first last time, didn't we, in the home game? And it was a draw. I mean, really, we could have won that. But I think our team is one. Once we get the first goal, it seems to settle us down. But we can't be passing back to Mary in the first minute and putting her under pressure, because everyone's nervous then. And even the crowd just goes, oh, you can't do that. So if they don't think they can start fast, they at least need to control it a bit for the first 5 minutes to get the tempo right.
Kind of last word with you on this topic then. How would you beat City?
Yeah, I think the same as everyone else. Get the first goal. But the thing is, after Chelsea, take that first goal away, up until the second one, which was actually a brilliant goal anyway. Somebody, I still stand by it, Jackie should have just brought her down, but, she didn't. But there we are. But I think up until that point, we controlled the game in midfield very well. The problem was breaking them down. We actually held the ball between Zellum, Jackie, and Lucy in midfield. We were holding the ball very well. We just couldn't get him behind them. So there was just no chance creation, which is why the possession stats, when you look at it at the end, were very even, because we did have a lot of the ball. So if we can do that, I think that's the main thing. We can't have a repeat of Chelsea where we go behind early on. I would even say up until half-time. Get to half-time and see where we are then. Try and control the ball like we did against Chelsea with a little bit more cutting edge. Try and get the ball in behind a little bit more. I would probably, if I was Skinner, I'm not a manager, but if I was, I'd probably tell Hannah and Honor to stick back a little bit in the first 45, because we know what they're like. They're both, which is great, high-flying fullbacks. But if they do that like they did against Chelsea and leave gaps in behind, because I'm assuming it's going to probably be Zellum and Jackie in midfield, isn't it, in the two? If it's going to be those two, neither of them really drop back enough to give the two centre-halves too much protection. So if they're both, the fullbacks that we know that they are in going forward, you can't really do that against a good City side like this, because you'll just get torn apart again. So yes, they're easily beatable, especially if didn't Jill Scott play centre half against West Ham? So if she's playing centre half again, they can be got at. And with the attacking players we've got, if Galton can start firing, she looked good against Birmingham. I worry if you have a front three, and this is quite weird to say, I know, if you've got a front three of Galton, Russo, and Hansen, and two in behind, which we'd all say is probably our best front four, maybe. There's no real game changers off the bench then. you're not really, who do you look to on the bench and kind of go, right, she can come on and change it. So maybe he will go with a false 9 again. Well, I say a false 9, Russo, the team that started against Birmingham, Toon, Russo and Galton. So they can be beat, but like I said, I just think we need to get to half time first and then see where we are then, and then we can start playing this attacking play that he wants to play. We just cannot go a goal down in the first, or two, whatever, in the first 20 odd minutes, because then it's just going to be an uphill battle again. And like you just said there about the noise around the place, the fans, when we are going to generate a good atmosphere tomorrow, it can also work the other way. If things aren't going too well, then you've got more people kind of nervous and sighing, maybe if there's a misplaced pass and things like that. So it does work both ways.
Stu, over to you then, mate. What's your topic?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about technique, really. I've noticed, I expected a gulf in technique between the men's play and women's play, but actually I was really surprised on how technical the girls are. But I think tomorrow's going to be quite key with our technique and our technical play as a whole, really. One of the things we don't do particularly well is our first touch. I've noticed our first touch 9 out of 10 times will actually get away from us. And it's, it'll come in, they'll take it down and it'll be 2 yards away from them. So they really need to work on it sticking on their feet. And if you've got a ball, you can bring it down, you can drop it on your feet, you can pass it almost immediately. And it's not a rush pass, it's a measured pass. But what's happening is, and I noticed particularly with Jackie Groenen, if that's how you pronounce her, sometimes the ball, she'll try and take it in, but the ball's run 3 yards away from her, so she's struggling and scrambling to get it. It's one of the things I quite like about Katie Zell. I'm not going to get shot here again. Is that sometimes
especially
the ball
because you're criticising Jackie.
Criticising Jackie, that's not the reason. Yeah,
oh well,
Good job you're in the other stand tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's all right, mate. You never wanted to go abroad, did you? At any point in the next year?
No, it doesn't look like it. Whereas Katie, to me, again, when I saw it Reading properly, she was quite good with the ball. She kept it quite well. So technique's good. The other thing is we talk about attacking from the width. Now, what we tend to do, again, this is only what I've noticed. We tend to attack to the 18-yard box and then cross from the 18-yard. We never hit the lines. You've got to hit the bylines. So you need to almost, I would say, attack to the bys, attack onto the diagonals. But again, that comes about technique and being able to actually get your foot under the ball to get a decent enough power across.
I also think they're not doing that because we have a false 9, so there's already that far up the pitch. I think he needs to come. She needs to come a bit further back because 2-0 will probably be too far behind to get into the box because there's nobody up there.
Yeah, I had noticed that, and I was saying to Kev actually that we don't put any more than 1 or 2 in the box at any one time, when there really should be 4. There should be 4 at any one time in that box ready, and 2 on the outs on the 18-yard line, ready to take the come down. And the other thing I'd like to see, and it's for a professional footballer, it's the nothingness. We don't use any backspin on the ball either, and it really surprises me that because. In the amount of times, if you're going to try and play a through ball over the top, if you can get the backspin on it just right, it'll land perfectly into the path of the striker. But we don't do any of that, and I just think those are areas that, and thoughts, obviously, and you get a lot of thought process that comes into this. I just think if we can look at areas of that nature, and it isn't all about coaching, but if we can look at areas of that nature, and we could think a little bit more when we're playing and we're in possession. Instead of, as I said to you before, rushing it, I think we've got a really good chance of beating them tomorrow. And I quite fancy us to win 2-1. But anyway, that technique is my question.
Just for anyone who's watching who's never seen Stu before, Stu's like a former player, so he's looking at it from like a different angle to maybe a fan or as a coach or whatever. But some of the things that Stu's coming out with tonight is completely different to what I've heard doing this show for over a year. So it's always nice just to hear like a different aspect to it. Connor, I know you want to jump in on this one, mate.
Yeah. Firstly, Stu's not a former player; he's a current player. He's still playing.
I do still play.
Yeah, he's still playing. No, I think I kind of agree with what Stu was saying actually, and I know it's not a popular thing to say to criticise Jackie. I know how everyone feels about her. However, I do actually agree. And she was better against Birmingham, much better against Birmingham. It's kind of gone in the first 2 games. I actually thought Zellum was the better of the two, and the previous 2 games, Jackie's kind of gone up and Zellum's gone the other way. But I think you're talking about technique there, Stu. I think the one thing I'd like to see us do better, I don't know whether this is technique or not, but and I mentioned this very briefly earlier, is just have a bit more, I don't know, there's no nice way of putting this, but like a nastier side to us sometimes. Being able, like Maria, your favourite player, Stu, is probably the only player that I can see doing it, because that second goal for Chelsea is a prime example. You've got Mannion, Jackie and Maria all around it. Someone just bring her down, take a yellow card. And we don't do that enough. There was a lot of time, Zellum does it a lot, Jackie was doing it a lot. That whole midfield, actually, apart from Alatoon, actually, they back out of challenges a lot. I don't know whether that's fear of injury with some players or whatever it is, but I'd like to see us just get stuck in a bit more. Take a yellow card, tactical foul, just rough them up a little bit, especially when you're playing a team like City. Like I think it was Stu or somebody mentioned earlier, against Ellen White, I want to see somebody get right into her, right from the start. Let her know that you're there. Don't let her have a free run of the ball, because then you're going to be in for a long afternoon. So in terms of technique, there's a couple of things. And so I agree with everything you were saying, Stu, about kind of keeping the ball, all those kind of things. But definitely, roughing them up a little bit. Just being a bit more, having that nastier side. Because let's not be real, every team in history that's won titles and gone on to win big trophies have had that. I don't know what the word. I'm just going to keep saying nastier side because I don't know another way of putting it. But edge. They've had that kind of edge to them, because it's great, everyone's nice and all these kind of things, but you do need that little bit of fire sometimes in the pitch. So I'd just like to see that a bit more, especially against not too much. I don't want to see Jackie go in tomorrow and 2-foot somebody and get sent off. I'm not saying that. I just would like to see it a little bit more. Just be a bit more clever. I'm just talking tactical fouls, just getting into the players a little bit more, because you can't help your height. Against Chelsea they were taller than us, but the way you combat that, just let them know that you're there. Just a little. A Stu would say, little elbow in the back, little reminder. But
calm it down a bit. I might say that. I might say that. Actually, Connor's right, really, because in my youth, when I was really playing, I used to pit myself against the taller player, the bigger player, the stronger player. I used to love it. That used to be my thing, and it actually takes away the fear of football. Because Connor's right, really. There are players that have a fear of really going into a 50-50 tackle, or they won't go in for a 50-50 header for whatever reason, just in case they get an elbow wrapped around them. Well, you've got to get on with it, I'm afraid. You fall down, you get up. We're all taught this as kids. You fall down, you get up. Your parents pick you up once, and then that's it. You're on your own. And players have got to do this. They've got to kind of. And I did say this to Connor and Jonathan with the Reading game with their big number 4. She was just there purely as an aggressor. She was an aggressive player. And at one stage, we were quite frightened of her. But then as the game progressed, our players got to realise what she was about. So, we took the fouls, and she was more and more in a perilous position until at the end, the last 10 minutes, their number 4 completely went anonymous. She stopped doing it because she was either on the verge of a yellow card, or she had a yellow card, she would have been sent off. So there are ways around it. You've got to be cute, as Connor would say. Cute, Connor. Not elbow, cute. Be cute. That's what you got to do.
Cute and clever. Go on, Andy. Take it.
Yeah, just jumping on that. I agree. Nothing appeals to me more than really sticking it to City or any players. But the problem that you've got is that half of these referees, are they good enough not to just give a red if you blow on them too hard? Let's be honest, we've all seen it. And that's why I do understand maybe why we are just kind of work out whether or not the ref has sort of finished reading refs for dummies, or whether or not, she actually is qualified, and you need that sort of 10, 15 minutes to see what the ref's like. But definitely I would like to see a bit more edge with our players. Hopefully it'll come from the derby, hopefully the cauldron we're going to generate. I remember, I forget which game it was. It wasn't at home, but where, LJ got sent off as she was given player of the match. I'd even take that as long as we win, and that would be, I think that would be important. But I think, definitely people know Hayley Land hasn't had much game time recently. But, she's kind of lost a bit of that edge. If the ball was taken from her, she'd go after and get them. and she'll take the ball vigorously from the opposition player. And there's a little bit of, like, as you say, standing off a little bit, but I do get it because obviously what these refs are like. And obviously I would say that being a United fan, but a lot of the times we're the ones that get yellows, they get warnings. So it's one of them, isn't it, really?
Andy, I literally want to follow on from what you said. For once, we've actually got a decent ref tomorrow, and she
good.
does let a lot of stuff slide and plays the game properly. And I think she's done a derby before. She knows what the crack is. She'll let the odd niggle go before it starts getting to the point where she'll need to book people, which is what we have to capitalise on. Obviously, we've seen this season, last season, what I said earlier, Kung Fu Jackie. She needs to come back tomorrow.
I love that. I just remember that. Didn't City get sent off against us? Was it a cup game? They did get a red card.
No, yeah, Kira, when she snapped Hansen's ankle. I don't know whether that was a cup game or the league game. I can't remember.
I can't remember either. But,
I certainly agree, Andy. You're right about refs. I mean, I must admit, I'm perplexed that in the professional game you have non-professional referees. Now, I understand they're coming under the umbrella now of the PGMOL, but it's too late. You can't be having part-time referees refereeing a professional game of football. It just doesn't work. So whether that will change now for next season, you would hope it would. And that is a bit of an issue. And I don't want to jump to the defense of these referees because it's, I would be absolutely livid if I was playing and I'd had some of the decisions go against me. I'd be absolutely livid. And to be honest, when you've got a weak referee on the pitch, you can just get in their ear right from the first minute of kickoff to the 90th minute, and you can win your fair share of fouls and free kicks just by jabbing at them. Whereas a professional referee, you can't. So that is a big issue, and there are problems. I mean, was it the Reading goal, Connor, which was clearly in?
Oh, yeah.
And I felt for the lineswoman, or assistant referee, we'll call her. I felt for her because she was way off. She was way off the the pace. She was doing the right thing because if you remember at the time, she hit it from about 25 yards. She was doing the right thing. She was at the back line, watching the back line for offsides, but she should have been a tad further up from where the play was, and she might have got it. But anyway, it's one of those. But it's a shame. It's a shame. But the women's game, you can't have a professional game with amateur.
The only good thing about this game is the ref made an absolute howler against City I think it was last season, where Debbie Stokes went to control it with her stomach and then kicked it out. She gave a penalty and booked Ellen White.
That one, yeah.
For what? For what?
For handball. She thought it was Ellen White when it was Demi Stokes, and I'm not.
I suppose, is it worse thinking that your hand is on your head or your hand is on your belly?
Stomach, it wasn't even handball, and it was the wrong person. So there's probably still be seeing from that. But that's the only mistake I've ever seen her do in the many seasons that I've watched the game.
So this is tomorrow's ref, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Just to jump in on what Stu's saying as well. I mean, I think I've heard people say it in the stands as well. We should be in their ear because, as you say, at the moment it works. And where's Katie? Why is she not in the ref's ear? I mean, a lot of the time the opposition, Chelsea, were very good at that. I know City are very good at that. Ellen White goes for the Oscars every time she's on the pitch. Everyone seems to do that apart from us.
And I'm going to defend her now, which is a first. She did do that last season, and I don't know what's happened this season, but she's not doing it. I think she got booked for it once last season. For something. And then I think she's not done it since. And I'm like, well, you're going to get booked at some point for dissent, so you might as well just do it in a derby.
Yeah.
But, she just...
It might endear you to some of us anyway if you did that.
The best thing to do is
I know what potential she's got, and she's not doing it. And that's why I'm not angry. I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
I can see the potential. Absolutely. I agree with that because I saw it against Reading, and I can see that. And I think she could be a really, really solid player. She doesn't have to be, somebody like her. She doesn't have to be flamboyant or anything of that nature. Sometimes in a game, you just need someone to get hold of it, drop it 2 yards.
The thing with her, especially this season, she passes back too much, and especially when we've not got Hayley Ladd there, we need to go forward, and that's what's stressing me out.
Is there any reason then why you can't play Zellum and Ladd and Groningen? That's a genuine question to the panel.
Then you're taking Lucy out. We've had this discussion when we John earlier on. Then you're taking Lucy out, who's probably been one of our better midfielders actually this season. So it's like, and you're not going to drop Ella. So it's Lucy, Jackie, or Zellum. You're not going to drop Zella because she's captain. Jackie's Jackie, and then Lucy's been our best midfielder. So it's difficult, isn't it?
But I think as well, captain, you have got that a little bit more leeway against the ref. So use it if that armband is stuck to your arm, Katie. Then use the leverage that it gives you because I know the refs are more lenient talking to captains than they are to other players, just slightly. I appreciate it's not much of a difference, but we need to use every percentage we can against City.
Emma, over to you for the last 10 minutes.
Controversial yet interesting topic. If you could pick a combined 11, what would it be? Or who would it be, should I say?
So last time we did this, it was close to about a year ago. We had Emma Sean from Man City on, and I think we managed to choose about 7 United players and 4 City players. Now, bearing in mind that was before Christmas and we were top of the league, things were going well. Okay, it's on the United channel. We was quite biased, but I think we let them have the City goalkeeper, a City fullback, a City. City forwards, that would have been 3, and maybe Mewis probably in the midfield, I'm guessing. So it'll be interesting to see if anything's changed. So if you want to kind of like organise it.
I've done a mock-up of what I think, and then people can swap and change as they feel. Controversial, Roebuck, just because Mary's distribution scares me.
Is this based on form, Emma? Because at the moment...
Well, no, because she's been out all season. But generally, I would prefer her in goal than Mary. Okay. Hannah, Mannion. Now, this lineup, obviously, everybody knows I'm Australia Agenda FC. So, Kennedy, Battier, and then DM, Kira, because she's the only decent City player they've ever had. Rasso, Groningen, Weir, and then Hansen, Russo, Hemp. Sorry, Nat, but Hemp.
Okay, so we'll take the goalkeepers first. Because I think Mary's had a couple of good seasons. I think she was good last season. Don't think she's made any mistakes this season. I think Bagley coming has made Mary 100%. You know, she's had to be on it because Bagley could quite easily come in. And I think a lot of fans actually expected for Bagley to start this season. Just your thoughts on Mary this season, and would you put her over Roebuck?
I do think Mary's a great shot stopper, but when she's got the ball at her feet, I just panic. I just feel like my heart's in my mouth, and it's a bit like, oh. So playing out from the back, I worry when she's got the ball at her feet, and she tends to just dive on the ball and stop play, really. I like the fact that she's vocal and, you know, she like controls stuff in front of her, but Roebuck is a lot better as a keeper, if I'm honest.
I think that's fair enough. I think 90%, if not more than that, would probably go for Roebuck on this one. So, we'll move on to centre-backs. Mannion, you said, did it you? So I'm going to bring Stuart in on this one because you've chose Mannion over Thor. I can see why, but Thor's had a good season. Well, the best 3 games in the United shirt. Stu, I know you're a massive fan of Maria. Just your thoughts on our 2 centre-backs first.
Yeah, so... just to look, I'm a centre half, so when I look at what's around, I look at the centre halves first, and I watched Reading, and I was raving. Connor will tell you, I was absolutely raving about Maria because I thought she was absolutely terrific.
Can I just say it's going to snow next week anyway?
Oh, is it? She's very commanding. I think a positional play at Reading in particular was outstanding. She was perfect. She got the ability to sometimes when players are attacking you, she got the ability to run back, slightly twist her body and give the attacker the decision rather than Maria having to make the decision. It's really important at centre half play. I think she was actually great at that. I didn't see Mannion do that, or I haven't seen Mannion do that in the couple of games I've played. I think she's good in the air. She's got a decent pass on her. I would have Maria over Mannion. I like Mannion. I just think Maria is a better all-rounded footballer from the games that I've seen. Yeah, so I'd have Maria. And nobody's really going to be able to convince me that Mannion's a better centre half. I've just not seen it.
What I do like about Mannion is her kind of leadership. She does seem very composed on the ball. I think I will give her that over Maria. Do you want to come back on that one, Stu?
Yeah. Look, I wouldn't disagree with that. I think she is very composed on the ball, but I think again, what I've seen in Maria, she's composed. Now, look, I know last season when I wasn't watching it, she was culpable for quite a few goals, but that was last season. You have to take each season as they come, and you've got to take each game as they come, and you've got to look at the player for the games that I've seen her play, and I think at the two of them, she's been the better centre half for the games that I've played. I do like Mannion. There's just something about her. She doesn't strike me as being good at. I'm not seeing her being good in the air. I think Maria's a bit stronger, so she's a bit more physical. But Mannion's a ball player. And I think about centre halves anyway. You need a physical player and a ball playing player. Now, the other centre half that you've chosen, Emma, I don't know what her physical attributes are.
She's probably a similar stature to Thor, to be honest. She's quite tall. She's about 5'11".
Okay, yeah. So they wouldn't work together then if they're similar stature, similar players. They wouldn't work together. You do need two centre halves to offset each other. So I am going to say that Mannion and Thor work very, very well. But my type of centre half, because that's how I used to play. I was quite an aggressive player. Used to love the one-on-one duels. Used to love the foot races and things of that nature. Thor wins it for me.
I'll bring Vix and Andy in on the centre backs, and then kind of come to you on the full backs.
Why is Emma going to kill me? Emma's looking at me as if she's going to.
It's literally my concentration face. My concentration face looks like I'm going to kill somebody and probably just singing Spice Girls.
It's good to know.
Okay.
Vix, start off with yourself first. Have we forgot about Millie Turner? I've been tweeting about Millie Turner today, by the way. I've been watching a few old videos of her during lockdown, and I've tweeted a few links of her in Ella over lockdown. So if anybody has forgot Millie, check out those videos. But would you put two United players in, or would you play a lot of Kennedy or somebody else?
I think at the minute, we're sort of disregarding Millie because she's injured, aren't we? But I think it's fair play what Emma said. But why didn't you go for Alex Greenwood?
That's not even a question.
I thought she was left back. I thought she played left
no,
back.
She plays,
well, she should play too. Sorry.
She plays at centre half now, but I agree with Emma on Mannion. I do actually think she's better than Maria. Maria sort of switches off a lot for me. She makes mistakes in that. It's like against Birmingham. It's like she'll be halfway through a header and forgets what she's doing, and then loses the ball and things like that. Where I think Mannion's very intelligent in the way she plays, and I like the way she brings the ball out of defence, and she picks some good passes out. So she sort of brings us forward, and she sort of organises the back line. You can hear her, can't you, like telling people, she gives them that bit of confidence, and that's the sort of defender I like, where they like you sort of anticipate what's going to happen, and they take the ball off, attackers without any fuss, and that type of player.
I consciously didn't put Millie in because actually, although she is obviously playing a lot of minutes for us, I do think she's very inconsistent. And a lot of our own goals last season were from Millie. She's a great defender, but for a combined 11, I think I'd choose Kennedy over them. And I also didn't put Greenwood in because I was thinking about her at a left back position, and Honor and Greenwood are not in the same league. So yeah.
I'll let you off then.
Finish up with you, Andy, on this one then, your two centre-backs.
Yeah, I don't want to be boring, but I agree with Emma. It seems to be a pattern tonight with these things. I think Mannion, obviously, I don't know much for history, but I know she was injured for a long, long time, and she's getting regular minutes with us, and there's definitely some potential there, and she's definitely plugged into the fans and plugged into the club, and obviously, I feel that. Yeah, was it? I'm gonna have a go at a real name. Torres Dottier. Was was it her who got hit in the face on one of our goals? Because I've got this burned out image. And I think that's another reason why I automatically don't rate her as much as basically anybody else she put in that position. I know it wasn't her fault.
It's usually Jackie that gets smashed in the face.
Yeah, I got this strong image of her sort of getting hit in the face and it going in. But no, I think that's part of it.
Why could you blame her for that?
Well, because
everything went wrong for her, didn't it? And I see at one point, Mannion put her arms right over the shoulder, say, "Right, come on, Maria, keep it together." And everything was going wrong. And
sort of just sort of like threading up sort of the things we've got through, like you're saying about getting grit there. It's the ability to keep your head in the game. You know, it's a saying for a reason. Keep your head in the game. And if you get sort of deviated from that, that's when with the better teams they can obviously take advantage. About Greenwood, she's not in the same league. She's I mean, to be honest, she'll play for anyone who wants her. To be honest, if you look at her history, so
and also Lani can score from free kicks. Obviously, Greenwood.
Yeah, and I ain't going to say anything against Alana Kennedy because I wish she came to us. It was one of that things in summer where I was saying, "Oh, this will be good," and then you look at the next tweet and it's like, "Sign for City." Oh, great, this will be good. Oh, sign for.
That went well for her, didn't it?
Yeah, sign for Tottenham is Simon, another Aussie, wasn't it? Apparently would have been a good signing for us.
Yeah,
that'll be a separate show for everyone. That one, yeah. Fullbacks then, Connor. So I know we were speaking earlier about Lucy Bronze. You could put Alex Greenwood in there. You could put Demi Stokes in there. I can see you smiling already. Well, are you happy with the two that we've got, Honor and Hannah Blundell?
Well, obviously, I think if everyone's fit, Lucy Bronze walks into any team anyway. She was one of the first players when I started watching women's football in 2014-15, the first time around. She was City. She was the one player I was looking at going, if there's anyone who's close to being in the men's game, it's her. She was the one just always stood out, and I've been lucky enough to see her live a few times. I met up with her, met her a couple of times as well. And she just goes into any team for me. So if everyone's fit, she goes in. But in this current scenario, obviously not. And I actually wouldn't change our two fullbacks on current form. I don't think you take Hannah and Honor out, to be honest. Honor's in a league of her own anyway. I think she, again, similar to Lucy, I think she could probably walk into most teams at the moment. I do worry slightly on Hannah's defensive side sometimes, whether that is because of how high the fullbacks are being asked to play. They're almost past the two midfielders at times. So it's hard to judge them defensively when they're so high up and they're constantly running back at people. But yeah, as for fullbacks, I just don't think you look past the two that we've got, to be honest. I've seen a little bit of City, but no, I just don't. Hannah and Honor have been brilliant, and I just think they just come as a, there you go, pairing. I was thinking they come as a pair, and there you go. I just think they just work well together. So yeah, I wouldn't look past our two, to be honest.
And it's great into Dix because this is the first time in our full season there where we've actually got two fullbacks. We haven't really got necessarily like a weak link. We've always had like Alex Greenwood, who was far superior than the rest, and obviously Honor's come in now, and now we've got Honor and Hannah. It looks like we've got two very similar attacking-minded fullbacks, which will give us a lot of balance. Would you kind of agree with that? Like, do you think this is our strongest fullbacks that we've had since the start 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, we really with Smith and Harris, it's like one's better defensively, one's better going forward, aren't they? So it's like, it's like now we've got two who are both good. They can swap as well, can't they? They seem to have a good understanding. So I think, and touch wood, they both keep fit. That's what we want.
Emma, just remind us of your midfield for me.
Kira Walsh, DM, and then who else did I say? Let me just have a quick look. Oh, and then Rasso, Groen, and Weir. Rasso,
any reason in particular? Emma,
she's just that engine on the wings, like providing that. Where if Hannah obviously needed to stay back, she'd be that link in between, and obviously going forward, she's a threat. And then obviously if Kira's dropping a little bit deeper, she's that Roman. She can play both sides, and obviously with her and Weir, they could. I'm saying this hypothetically, of course. They can just run the show.
Andy, I'll bring you on this one. I would say two of those three I don't think I've seen Rasso enough for me to drop Tooney. So I would say 2 out of those 3. Where would you kind of sit on this one, Andy?
Yeah, it's the greatest hits of my summer. I'm just remembering that image of Rasso signing for City now after what happened. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I used to watch other teams, but I almost only solidly watch United now. So I'm not as knowledgeable on City. I can't really deviate from what's being said. I mean, I always like a bit of physicality, so I'd be interested to see, who holds the physicality on that. I know that Caroline Weir is apparently a goal scorer, and apparently, unfortunately, has a habit of scoring against us. So I'd be interested to see if where the goals would come from, because obviously that's always an important consideration.
Yeah, Vix, have you got any kind of build on that one, or would you kind of stay the same, or would you put Paul Rees there on previous form like on last year and her career so far?
I don't know. It's hard, isn't it? Because the midfield, you think, well, I wouldn't really want to drop Tooney, but then Caroline Weir always scores like worldies, doesn't she? And I think Walsh is really good, isn't she, at like the defensive midfield and no
the dirty work.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one, John. Let me think. But yeah, I think Tooney would probably over Razo, really. I think, yeah.
Did you say, Emma, is that a 4 in midfield that you're playing there? Did I hear 4?
Well, yeah, Bakira sitting and then a 3. Just because I was trying to put players, to be fair.
Everyone is.
Yeah. And it's not that I disregarded Tooney. She's just either or, really.
Would everyone hate me, John, if I say Jackie wouldn't get in mine? It would be a 3. And it would,
Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Were you sitting tomorrow, Connor?
Right behind you, I think.
The irony is, you'll probably be safe in the stadium. It's people outside the stadium that would kick off about it.
Because mine would have been Walsh, Weir, and Ella Toon, and then a front 3. Just keep it simple, 4-4-3.
Yeah, well, I was wondering where. I thought Ella. Did you put Ella in further up, or I don't think she's on 11, is she? We combined. No.
Yeah, so that would just be mine. Like you said, Walsh and Weir speak for themselves. Same with Ella Toon, just a simple midfield 3. But unfortunately, it just means Jackie doesn't make it because there's a front 3 that I want to put in. So Jackie doesn't make mine, unfortunately.
Can't Jackie play further up then? Can't she play as a front 3?
I mean, the goal she's scoring, she probably could, but I think she more likes to get on the ball and make things happen rather than be the person that happens.
You could have got the debate to strikers the City have got, and
we have to be honest. Well, not strikers, but like forward players.
That brings us on to fun 2 or fun 3. Then I'm not too sure. I've
lost 3.
Fun 3, yeah.
So, that's 12 players, isn't it?
Yeah, it can't be a front 3.
4-4-3.
4-4-3.
4-3.
Oh yeah, 4-4-3. It's been a long day. We all know. Yeah. Well, we'll have 3 because we're United.
To be honest, with our rest, you wouldn't even notice. To be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Probably have done that. So I had Hansen, obviously on that wing. Who did I have up top? I had Hemp on the other side just because, as we all know, Leah's not been on top form. She will be, but she's not in it. Oh, Russo up top. So that forward 3 of Hemp coming down the side, Hansen, Russo.
Okay. Connor, I'll bring on this one. Are you happy with what you've seen so far at United, or would you want one of the City players to come in?
Well, I had Leah in until Emma's just said that, and to be fair, I kind of agree. She hasn't been on best form, but I have, from what I've heard, Leah is very good player, and I have seen glimpses of what she can do. I think I'd probably go. Hemp, definitely goes in. I actually think Ellen White as well goes straight in, and I'd probably put Russo. I know she's not. I know people like her down the middle, but I can't leave her out from the brief spell I've seen.
That's why I've got 12.
I just think Russo's that good from what I've seen of her so far. I just think she is. When I said earlier, I think I was saying to you, John, earlier, she reminds me of a bit of Lucy Bronze in the kind of stature she's got. Like most of the kind of players are quite, they're all kind of similar stature, like the Ella Toon type of football. They're all kind of small, very nimble on the ball kind of thing. Whereas Russo is very strong, she's physical, she can turn on the ball well. And I just think you just think of that front three. If you had White down the middle, Hemp on one side, and Russo on the other, not many defenses are going to keep that out. So yeah, I know Russo's not really a winger. I just couldn't not have her in the team.
Stu, I haven't heard you talk too much about the strikers since I've seen your games, mainly more of a defensive kind of thing. And I know why, but is there anything that you would like to kind of say on the forwards from what you've seen?
Yeah, I think we're weak up front. I think we're really weak. I don't like any of our forwards. Maybe Tooney, but as our forwards,
you haven't seen Russo yet.
Hold on a minute. What?
Come on now.
Look, I'm speaking as I find. I'm speaking as I find.
The City check's cleared.
Yeah, they're not aggressive. She's not aggressive. She won't get your header. She'll get you the odd goal outside the box. But I don't think she runs particularly well in behind the defenders. I could go on forever about our strikers.
Good job in a different stand.
I've been critical about our strikers. I've been critical about our strikers on the main side.
In fairness
to Stu.
You got a fader, John. You could fade him out.
I know, yeah.
Let's put it this way. Let's put it this way. I've been quite critical of Greenwood on occasions on a Saturday. A striker has got to be a multitude of things, not just somebody who can stick the ball in the back of the net. She's got to be able to hold the ball up really well. She's got to bring players in. She's got to get round one or two. I haven't seen
her do that. 3-4 players at one time.
Yeah, I think, Stu, I don't know who you're talking about. I actually agree with you if you're talking about Leah and Hansen. I think
I'm talking about Russo. I'm talking about Russo. I've seen the highlights. I've seen the highlights.
You sure it's her you've been watching?
No. She's the best of what we've got. But I'm not saying she's what we need. She's the best of what we got, but she's not what we need. I think we're weak up front. I generally do. It's not. You haven't got.
She's coming back from a serious injury, so she's not going to be at full light. Yeah.
Well, again, I can speak as a fine, but she's not a 20 or 25 goal a season striker, which is what you need. If we've got the aspirations of getting to the top three, you want to beat City. Hey, look, you can laugh at me as much as you like.
No, I'm just going to say, watch this space. No, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
No, guys, you can laugh at me as much as you like, but I know football.
I'm quite happy that you're bringing a difference of opinion, Stu. I'm intrigued to hear your point of view on it.
Yeah, but show me a bit more respect, mate. Show me a bit more respect, mate, because I understand football. Well, I'll eat my words at the end of the season. I'm telling you what I've seen now. I'll eat my words at the end of the season. We're how many games in? 4 games in? 5 games in? How many she scored?
She's been injured.
I think in fairness to Stuart, though, he hasn't seen Galton at the best because the 2 games that you've been at, she hasn't been.
No.
She come back to her best last week against Birmingham, which you weren't there. Russo's coming back from injury. Hansen, I think Hansen's done well. A lot of fans don't think she's going to be world class, but I think she's one of our best front 3 at the moment. And you mentioned Tooney, who has done really well. So I would like to get you back on in a few weeks' time, just when
it'll be interesting to see how it transpires. Yeah, but right now I can only tell you what I've seen, and at the minute I think we're quite weak up front. I don't think we've got enough up front to challenge to win the title for sure. But if we've got any aspirations of getting into the Champions League and beyond, I think we need better strikers. Look, Connor will tell you, I've been very, very critical of Greenwood on the men's channel. A lot of the men's fans think that Greenwood's a natural number 9. He isn't. By the way that he plays his natural game, he just isn't a number 9. And the way I see Russo is, I think she's got a lot to a game. If she's going to have to add to a game, if she's going to get you the 20, 25 goals you need, or we need, to get into top 3. As I look at it right now.
I can back Stu up just for people who haven't maybe watched Stu before. He doesn't just say things to be different. If Stu's talking, it is coming from a place of knowledge. So I just wanted to put that out there. If there are people watching thinking that he's just saying it, and I do kind of get your point. But it's like I said, I think it'll be good to have you on, in 3-4 weeks, because
that's what I
mean. Me the same. I'm based not off 4 games. So for me, Leah and Hansen haven't been great, but from what people have told me, they're much better than what they're currently playing at. So we could only tell maybe 2 months in, 2-3 months down the line.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, only reason I know is because I've seen her since she was 17 playing thingy, so I know what she's capable of. Whereas we have got a very weak forward line, and like we say, she has been injured, so you can't, and you'll probably agree, you can't judge it off these 4 games because she's not been in it. But like we say, in the next 3-4 weeks, we'll see once she gets back to full fitness. Russo FC.
Yeah, and just to sort of support that as well. I mean, if you look at what I've always said on this show and in person, we need more strikers. We do, but I do class Russo obviously as a very strong striker. It's just we need that backup if God forbid she does get injured, or we've got 2 cup competitions and the league. We need a game changer on the bench, and my jury's out on Martha Thomas. So I do get that. But I'm going to jump on the Russo train because I really hope that she is going to smash it in for us tomorrow. But I have said, didn't I, that we need more strikers. Hopefully, we're going to get one of them in January. But it's in addition to, not to replace Russo.
Yeah. Well, it won't be Blackstenius because she's just extended a contract till the end of the season.
No, it's to the end of December.
To be honest, I'm not fussed at this point. I just want to strike.
Is it still January, Emma?
Oh, is it December? I thought it was the end of the season.
Yeah, no, because her contract was finishing on the 15th of November.
Oh, I thought it was in the all right, no more than
so she'll finish the group stages of the Champions League. It was confusing because I thought she extended like longer term, but it was a bit weird.
Oh, so it's only like a couple of weeks. All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Makes no difference really. So we'll wrap it up there. We've been going for a little bit longer, but it's a Derby Day preview and some good conversations there. Vicky, thank you for coming on. If someone wants to find you on Twitter and talk to you about Man United or Man United women's team, how can they go about doing that?
It's just at Victoria License, I think.
Easy. I think we've tagged her on a few of United tweets. Stuart, where can we find you apart from on the South Stand?
You'll be able to find me on the South Stand, the men's channel, and my Twitter's there at Stu Woolley. Come and give me grief.
No, that's absolutely fine. Thank you, Stu. Emma, thank you for coming back on again. If people want to find you, is it just Twitter or do you got anything else?
Instagram as well, which is the same tagline, I think. Again, but yeah, it's good to be on. Good to get different opinions.
Thank you. Connor, I look forward to you picking me up at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
You get at 8? You pick them up at 8?
Oh, I'm surprised it's not any earlier knowing John. I'll be at mine 6:30. We'll be at the ground floor.
It's all a joke. Yeah, they're actually in the same room. They're actually together now. It's just sort of take different rooms.
What time are you getting there?
Make sure you've got like a duvet ready for me because I'll be kipping in the back of the car.
Yeah, don't worry.
I'm going to the gym first, then we're coming up.
Oh. Can I just quickly, before I shout my out, which is right there, if you care to follow me. Someone in the comments there has put Martha Thomas need minutes, she'll change your mind, Connor. I didn't say anything about Martha Thomas. I don't know whether that was directed at Andy, maybe not myself. So I just wanted to say,
Martha, prove me wrong.
I also agree with him.
Prove me wrong multiple times this season, please.
Connor, don't forget the Bridging the Gap show.
That's literally my next point. So Bridging the Gap, which is a show on the men's channel, same app, just all for United. Tuesday, I believe 8 o'clock, John, I think we're doing it. It's pretty much where we get people on. So Jonathan and Natalie will be there from this channel onto the men's channel, and we try and, clues in the name, bridge the gap between men's and women's football. So John and Nat are there from the kind of women's side and help us talk about, contracts, transfers, the ins and outs, coaching, stadiums, all that kind of thing. And obviously myself, Mark, potentially yourself, Stu, as well, will be on talking about, from the men's side and trying to, like I said, bridging the gap between the two. So make sure you come over to that as well. We really want to get, obviously, we want to get more men's fans over to the women's game, but we also want to try and get some of the women's fans across to the men's side as well. So all of that to look forward to next week.
Brilliant. And Andy, final word with yourself?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, again, my Twitter's there. I really wish I could come up with more interesting handle than that, but you can work out where I got it from. It's basically my initials _ and sort of part of my date of birth there, like a 16-year-old, but there you go. You'll also find me in the West Stand South making constructive criticism at the refs, in a polite way, and maybe making a slight, higher than normal voice at certain points in the game.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody in the comments. We've had constantly over 20 people watching even now, so that means a lot for a Friday night job, absolutely. And everybody enjoy the game tomorrow, and I'll see some of you